hold your seats, $1 billion. Why? Because we're out of compliance. So please understand that many of these things are not because the conference wants it this way or that way. This is the law, and we're simply trying to corral the troops to follow the law and correct what is not correct. Some of these things are quite severe, A, in fines from government agencies, or B, in lawsuits from people who decide to take us to task for our non-compliance. So please understand that these are serious issues, and that's why we have to deal with many of them. Some of them have to do with policy and things, but mostly it has to do with labor law. If you need help with any forms, our website is right there. This is the HR website. If you need forms for applications for work, vacation forms, policy forms, various forms relating to employment, that's where you can get them, download them. Please check there before you call us. We receive hundreds of phone calls, and of course, there's just two and a half of us in my department. So if you can't get on the website, please call us. But look on the website first, it might save you a call. So that is a helpful thing for you. Let's deal with a definition just very quickly, since we started that question. A volunteer. What is a volunteer? Who qualifies to be a volunteer and who is not a volunteer? A volunteer by law performs services freely and without coercion for civic, humanitarian, and charitable purposes only. Then you know it's illegal for you to go to Walmart and say, I'd like to volunteer. You can't do that. Even if you want to, it's illegal. You can only volunteer for a charitable, a civic, or humanitarian purpose. You cannot volunteer for a profitable, a for-profit company. Secondly, volunteers cannot have any intention of gain or benefit, directly or indirectly. So, schools, please, I beg you guys, first of all, we cannot have parents work in lieu of tuition. The not payment of tuition is a benefit they receive for their work. That is illegal. Churches, you cannot have a parent work for you so that your worthy student fund can pay their tuition. If they receive any benefit, direct or indirect, then that is either work or a bartering situation, and hence taxable, and we can't do that. A volunteer volunteers, no strings attached, without receiving anything in return. And if a volunteer tomorrow decides, I'm no longer going to volunteer, there can't be any repercussions or changes with regards to financial situations and so forth. So it's very important that you understand who a volunteer is. I'm going to talk later on about an employee wanting to volunteer. They may, but only on certain circumstances, and we'll talk about that as we go along. Various labor laws do actually apply to volunteers, and that's why it is important that your posters, your employment posters, are posted. Some of our churches are telling us, well, we don't want to pay the $23 for the poster because we don't have employees who don't want to put it up. Well, first of all, the pastor's an employee, and secondly, some of your volunteers need to be able to see the workman's comp information on that form, even if they're volunteers. So just take note of that, they do need to be up. I'd like to speak about the employment process because from July 1, obviously right now, as schools and churches, you employ people. As a church, you may employ a janitor or a yardsman or a secretary or a Bible worker or a youth pastor or whomever else. And as a school, you might employ a secretary or a yardsman or whomever else. And I'd like to just go through the process so that you can make sure that we follow all the laws and we do a thorough job. But once again, the conference is not going to take over the job. We can't. We're not everywhere. We don't know the people you want to hire. We don't know your job descriptions. You guys are just going to do that. We're just going to help you through the process. And we just here as a resource to help you to ensure that we follow what the law demands.